Hey everyone, this is Steve Bose. Welcome to the HR Happy Hour work break for a Friday. As you can tell, it's just me going solo today. So just a quick one because I need to get prepared for something coming where I live this weekend, which I'm completely unprepared for. And I'll talk about that at the end of the show. But a couple of things I wanted to touch on really quickly. Of course, I'm sure you saw the Supreme Court this week blocked the Biden administration's plan to require all large private employers of 100 plus employees to issue vaccination mandates and or required testing for their staffs, uh, blocking it, saying it probably would be determined to be unconstitutional if it was reviewed further. It's a setback for the administration and their plans to try to get more people vaccinated, of course. But when you think about it, and it would have covered about 80 million people or so, right? Employees of those companies in the private sector. But when you think about it, so many large employers have already issued vaccination mandates in the United States that I don't know what number percentage that is of that 80 million number. I would guess it's probably close to half, but I would love to know that. But just a couple of companies that have done vaccination mandates and what's happened, I think is really interesting. The most interesting story that came out recently was from United Airlines, which did issue a vaccination mandate for their employees several months ago. And that the story at United Airlines tells us kind of two things about employer vaccination mandates and vaccinations more generally that we probably should have known. But one is that an employer vaccination mandate it works. It works pretty much everywhere, right? And pretty dramatically in terms of driving up the vaccination rates of employees. According to the United Airlines data, they issued their vaccination mandate for their employees in August of 2021. At that time, they had about 59% of their employees vaccinated. 2 months later, by October of 2021, right, 2 months of that mandate being in place, that number, that percentage of employees who were vaccinated at United went up to 99%. So almost everybody, right, in a 2-month period. And then more recently, in a recent 1-month period, United said 3,000 of their employees have tested positive for COVID-19, right? Because kind of like everyone's testing positive, right? Like who doesn't know somebody? Maybe you're positive right now watching this. I could be positive for all I know, although I haven't left the house in a while. But you get what I'm saying, right? Everyone's catching this. But they said of those 3,000 employees who tested positive, zero vaccinated employees were in the hospital, right? 3,000 people testing positive, zero in the hospital. They were losing one employee per week for about a 2-month period prior to the mandate coming in, basically dying. I don't mean losing an employee quitting. I mean losing an employee to death from COVID-19. In the last 8 to 10 weeks, they've had 0 deaths. And they estimate, I think rightly so, that they've saved 8 to 10 employees' lives by issuing this mandate. So it's a pretty incredible story from United Airlines and just a couple of other just huge companies, right? Starbucks will require all of its US workers to get vaccinated against COVID-19 or get tested weekly starting in February. That covers about 225,000 employees. Citigroup has warned their unvaccinated US office staff they'll be fired by the end of January if they don't get vaccinated. They have about 90% uptake of vaccinations, and they probably have the strictest policy of all the Wall Street banks. Mayo Clinic, another one, right? They're in healthcare, and we know that the healthcare vaccination mandate plans from the administration were allowed by the Supreme Court, but they have about 73,000 employees at the Mayo Clinic. They had to be vaccinated by January 3rd or have an approved exemption. And about 700 did not get vaccinated nor have an exemption, and they were fired. But that represents less than 1% of all their staff. So sometimes you'll hear folks talk about these vaccination mandates and requirements, and they express concern that employers are having a really difficult time retaining employees, finding employees, and staffing up, right? And if you put a vaccination mandate in place, that they'll have an even harder time finding staff and employees. And I mean, the data, at least at these really large companies, doesn't suggest that at all, right? It suggests that, quite honestly, that the vaccination mandates will force people and they'll go get vaccinated. And I'd be worried on the other side, right? Like if I were working for an employer that didn't have a vaccination mandate, and I knew that maybe 10% even of my coworkers and colleagues that I might have to be in close proximity with in the workplace weren't vaccinated, maybe that would be my reason to go find an employer that was enforcing vaccination mandates, and I'd feel safer, right? So I think it works both ways, and it probably works more the other way than we're letting on. A couple of other things real quick, though, and we'll get out of here for a Friday. I heard that the baby shark video on YouTube hit 10 billion views. I don't know. I just staggering to me. I don't know how much time that represents as a collective humanity we spent listening to Baby Shark, but seems like too much. Maybe we should work on, I don't know, other things. Get a cure for cancer, climate change, help the Knicks win the NBA title. Can we do that? And I missed out on another limited edition item. We've talked about that on the show a lot, like collaborations with beer companies, donut companies, wine companies. I missed out on this, which was really cool. Campbell Soup, right? We all know Campbell Soup. Maybe we have it, some of it in our cupboard now. We certainly had it when we were kids. They issued 2 limited edition Campbell Soup scented candles. One was chicken noodle soup, and the other one was tomato soup and grilled cheese candles. They look like the soup cans. They're shaped like the soup cans because the candles are kind of shaped like soup cans. Couldn't get them. They were like 20 or 22 bucks. It's completely sold out. I would love to be burning a chicken noodle soup candle this weekend in case my power goes out, because what I'm completely unprepared for, what I mentioned at the top of the show, is we have snow, freezing rain, ice, sleet, I don't know what else coming this way. I live in North Carolina. I'm near Charlotte, North Carolina. Apparently hasn't snowed here in like 5 years or something like that. I've been here about 3 years, maybe 3.5. I have not seen one snowflake the entire time I've been here. I'm completely unprepared. I don't own a shovel. I don't think I own a pair of boots anymore, or maybe, I don't know. So if you're in the path of this storm, because I guess it's charging across the country and then heading down this way, good luck this weekend. Stay warm. Hope your power stays on. I hope you're better prepared than I am. I'm awful at this, and I'm going to ride it out without my Campbell Soup candle, I guess. But hopefully it'll work out okay. And everyone else will be okay too. So that's it. One other thing, we have been doing these work breaks a long time. Occasionally we have special guests on the show. Next Wednesday, as a matter of fact, we're having a special guest on the work break. Marianne Abijay from SAP SuccessFactors will be joining Trish and I on this very work break next week. And just as a reminder, you can stream these work breaks live on Twitter, which is probably where a lot of people watch them. But you can also catch them on our LinkedIn company page, the H3 HR Advisors company page, which I'd encourage you to check out. Maybe follow as well. That'd be awesome. We post all the podcasts. We post all the work breaks on there. They stream live as they happen. All the things that we're up to at H3HR. You can follow them all on our LinkedIn company page at that URL there. So that's it. All the rest of the archives, hrhappyhour.net for all the shows, all the pods, everything else. Lots of cool stuff coming. Thanks so much for listening. Hope everybody is well this weekend, and we will see you back here on Monday.